Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a high achiever, someone who is totally used to tackling challenges head-on and crushing them, I'm willing to bet you've recently hit a wall. And it's a really specific, deeply frustrating kind of failure. You're exhausted, you know you're exhausted, but for some reason you feel like you're somehow failing at something as universally basic as resting. You sit down, you try to turn your brain off, and you somehow just feel worse. Today, we're diving into exactly why standard advice about rest completely fails high achievers. And more importantly, how we actually fix it.
Let me know if this sounds familiar. Somebody told you to rest, so you took a weekend off and you came back just as exhausted. Yeah, this is the painful reality for so many driven people. You did exactly what you were supposed to do, right? You followed the traditional burnout prescription to the letter, you slammed the laptop shut, you took Saturday and Sunday completely off, you unplugged, and then Monday morning rolls around and you wake up feeling just as empty, just as irritable, and just as utterly drained as you did on Friday. Why? Well, it's because the conventional advice we've all been sold about burnout is fundamentally broken for people like you.
Which brings us to Section 1, Rest versus True Recovery.
To figure out why you're still so tired, we've got to look at these two definitions. See, rest is nothing more than the mere cessation of activity. Literally, it just means you stopped doing whatever it was you were doing. Recovery, on the other hand, is the active process of replenishing a specifically depleted resource. I really want that to sink in for a second. Sitting on your couch for 8 hours binge-watching Netflix, that's resting. You've successfully hit pause on your activity. But if you get up from that couch and your internal tank hasn't actually been refilled, well, you haven't recovered.
So, for high achievers, applying the tool of rest to the problem of depletion is exactly like trying to fix a complex software bug by just turning your computer monitor off. I mean, sure, you don't see the problem for a minute, but the system itself, it's still completely drained. When you're burning the candle at both ends, simply stopping the activity doesn't magically refill the wax. You have to actively replace what was lost.
So how do we do that? Let's move to Section 2, Diagnose your burnout type.
You see, burnout is almost never just one single thing. It drains your physical energy, your emotional bandwidth, and your overall sense of meaning. It's usually this messy, complex, overlapping draining of multiple internal resources all at the exact same time. And honestly, this is exactly why taking a simple nap rarely cures it. Don't get me wrong, a nap is absolutely fantastic for restoring physical energy. But if your burnout is actually rooted in a completely empty emotional tank, or you've lost your sense of meaning, well, sleeping for 12 hours is just going to leave you feeling like a well-rested, deeply unfulfilled person.
So let's break it down. Burnout basically falls into 3 distinct types: physical, emotional, and existential. Ask yourself, are you feeling heavy physical fatigue, or are you feeling numbness, or maybe intense irritability with the people around you? Or are you waking up every day asking, seriously, what is the point of all this hard work? Most of the time it's a mix, but usually one of these is the dominant drain. And you've got to pinpoint your dominant type right now, because the cures, they are completely different. Physical drain needs sleep and downtime. Emotional drain needs either deep connection with loved ones or, frankly, firm distance from draining people. And existential burnout? That requires a reconnection to your core purpose. Definitely not just more hours off the clock. You've got to name your specific depletion before you can even begin to plan your recovery.
All right, let's jump into Section 3, Structurally Outpacing Your Depletion. Okay, here is a very hard truth we need to face. One vacation absolutely cannot offset a chronically depleting week-to-week structure. As high achievers, we love to just white-knuckle our way through months of misery, telling ourselves, hey, if I can just make it to that beach trip in July, I'm going to be totally fine. But think about the math here. If your daily life drains you way faster than a 2-day weekend or a 1-week vacation can possibly refill you, it is a mathematical certainty that you're going to burn out again. You are literally just burning out on a schedule. So the crucial takeaway here is this. The most effective cure for burnout isn't actually booking a longer vacation. It's ruthlessly removing or fixing the recurring structural leaks in your daily routine. What's draining you? Is it useless recurring meetings that completely destroy your deep work time? Is it draining relationship dynamics that just tap out your emotional bandwidth? Or maybe it's completely unrealistic self-expectations where you're demanding 150% from yourself every single day. Renegotiating these structural leaks, that is how you stop the bleeding right at the source.
And that brings us perfectly to Section 4, Rebuilding Capacity in Small Doses.
We high achievers, we often fantasize about these big dramatic resets, right? Quitting the job, taking a year-long sabbatical, moving out to a cabin in the woods.
And wow, they feel incredibly satisfying to daydream about in the moment. But let's be real, they're rarely accessible, and honestly, they often aren't even effective for long-term recovery once you inevitably return to reality. Instead, the actual secret to never hitting the wall again is what we call small, boring doses. It means fiercely protecting small daily recovery windows. I know it's unglamorous, it's definitely not Instagram-worthy, but it actually works.
And here is the magic number for you: 20. You don't need a whole month off the grid, you really just need 20 real, fiercely protected minutes of pure recovery every single day. But here's the catch: it has to be real recovery. It absolutely cannot be resting while trying to half-answer chat messages, or scrolling through your emails while sitting on the patio, or even listening to an intense industry explainer while you jog if that just drains you more. It's 20 minutes dedicated solely to refilling whichever specific tank, physical, emotional, or existential, is sitting on empty.
Because the ultimate golden rule of burnout recovery for high achievers is this: consistency beats intensity. Every time. A massive, intense, once-a-year burnout crash and vacation cycle, that is always going to lose to a small, boring, daily recovery habit. By refilling your tank by just a few drops every single day, you structurally outpace that daily depletion. You're essentially building a machine that fuels itself. So I really want to leave you with this final provocative thought today. If you've been taking time off, if you've been resting, and you still feel entirely, utterly depleted, are you resting the wrong resource? See, it's not that rest doesn't work on you, it's that you might be treating an existential drain with physical sleep. So rethink your strategy. Look at your life today, identify exactly which internal tank is empty, and commit 20 minutes to actively refilling that specific resource. Because honestly, that is how you finally break the cycle. Thank you so much for